MSR multi-source reasoning. Before we begin, I'd just like to tell you a little bit about myself. When I first started my GMAT prep, at that time I took my first mock and my score was a 7 percentile in DI, and overall my score was 395. I was really dejected. I thought that all my dreams of going to an MBA, they would come to an end. But yeah, after that, I prepared, I got my head down, I did everything in a very, very structured way, and I ended up scoring a 715 with a 97 percentile on DI. And today I'm here to show you the exact methods that I used to get from 7 percentile to like a 97 percentile. So, yes, let's go. So, would love to know from you guys, like, what do you usually do in an MSR question? Like, what is your approach to solving MSR questions? Yeah, one more thing, very, very, very important. I am promising you, like, it is my actual literal promise to you that if you are being an active participant in this session, if you are actually taking notes, if you are solving the question, you are definitely going to get value out of this. You are going to increase your accuracy, you're going to reduce the amount of time you take. That is my promise. But only if you're very, very active here. If you're watching it like a Netflix show, it's going to have the same effect as a Netflix show does, which is nothing. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to be very, very active and I want you to participate. And we are starting the session. Shweta, ready? Probably panic. I feel you. I can very much relate. But today we are going to make sure that we don't panic anymore. MSR is going to seem very, very easy to you from now on. Just let me share my screen. Uh, just give me a second. Okay, is my screen visible to everybody? I am assuming that it is. Wonderful. So we are going to start our session now. So in an MSR question, what do you guys do? What is the way that you guys are solving it? Do you skim the question really quickly, just have like, very, very quick gander at it and then directly go into the questions and, based on whatever the question says, you go back and then you look into the question stem? Or do you first read the data set, read the question stem, internalize it, properly look at what it is trying to say, and then start solving the questions? I want you to drop it in the comments. Do you do part one or part two? And again, be active, guys. There is 17 of you right now. Second way, awesome. Zineb Belrazi, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Second way, that is amazing. That is brilliant. You are doing it right. You're doing it the exact way that it's supposed to be done. Great, Arav Sharan, perfect. Shweta, reading properly takes a lot of time. I understand, that is a common concern of a lot of people, but we are going to show you mathematically how it makes more sense to read the question first. Durga, Jose, awesome, fantastic. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to take this question, okay? And I'm going to, we're going to jump in right off the deep end. Do it the way you normally do. I'm not going to show you our methodology right now. Just do this question the way that you would normally do a question. And then I'm going to ask you a question after it, and I want you to answer that. Okay, so right now it's 9:04. I'm going to give you probably 4 minutes for reading. And at 9:08, we will be back. And again, guys, no Netflix. Diligently, I want you to read each and every single word and answer the question correctly. Yeah, start. As soon as you're done reading, please type in the chat that you're done reading. Yeah, sure, we'll do that. Rashmi, could you please take care of that? Great, Rituj. I'm glad to see that you're done. If other people are done, please comment. Okay, Shweta, we'll do this. Don't worry, we'll go through the entire questions. At that time, you'll be able to appreciate every single line. Meanwhile, Rashmi, if you could just help figure this out. Great, Isabella, Rituj, you're done. For the others, 60 last seconds, final 60 seconds. Some texts are blocking the last paragraph. Okay. Is it better now? Tusif Ibtasham. I'm so sorry. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Is it okay? Are you guys able to see the screen clearly now? Great. So I'm assuming that a lot of you are done. So I'm going to ask my first question now. So there was a load deposit. Okay, so there was one particular load deposit in US that processed approximately 130 kgs of raw ore for each 1 gram of pure gold that it produced. Can this statement be inferred from this particular passage? Just say yes or no. There was one particular load deposit, in which case it processed approximately 130 kgs of raw ore for 1 gram of pure gold produced. Come on, guys, quickly. Yes or no? Can we infer that from this question stem? Please participate, guys. Can we infer that? No. Okay. No. Yes. No. Okay. Those of you who are saying no, why are you saying no? Drop it in the comments. Fanindra Siddhanti, you said yes. Rutuj, Louis, yes or no? I mean, you have to say either yes or no. Whoever is saying no, why are you saying no? A lot of you are saying yes. Okay. I think at this point of time, we have approximately half yes, half no's. And just to let you know, guys, this question, it has a 27% accuracy. I think it's even more confusing right now whether it is a yes or no. Whoever said no, average is told to be 130. Cannot comment of a specific one. Fantastic, Rituj. Fantastic. Great, Rohan. Brilliant. So, a lot of people, I think approximately 70% people said yes to this particular question, right? And if I am asking this, the average GMAT score is 555. Have I scored a 555? Just answer yes or no. If the average GMAT score is 555, does that mean that I have scored a 555? Quickly, this is a very easy question. Answer yes or no on the chats. No, right? Obviously not. There are some people who will be scoring a 395, some people who will be scoring a 715, 725, 745. Now, in this, look at this. What is the key word here? And I'm so glad that a few of you could pick this out. The key word here is average. What is it saying? That on average, each mining, such mining operations, they produce this. That does not mean that this particular deposit, it had approximately 130 kilograms. Right? So do you see this? And still, like a lot of people answered yes to this question. And the reason is that when we are reading it, and if we are skimming it, if you're not reading it carefully, it is very, very, very easy to miss such words such as average. So if you actually look at it, you know, how many of you, especially those who answered yes, did you read the word average? And like, I'm sure that someone like you all must have read it, but you might not have registered it. And whenever somebody is asking this question, whenever GMAT is asking this question, what is the purpose of it? We all know what average is. We know that, we know what it means, uh, since we were, I think, in eighth or ninth grade. They're not testing our knowledge of averages. They are testing if we are able to apply it in this scenario, if we are able to see the word average, and if we are able to visualize that what that means is that okay, there are some who are doing 130, there are some who are doing probably 190, there's some who are doing 50. So average doesn't mean all of it, right? And these are the inferences that you need to draw. And this is why it is extremely, extremely important to own the data set. And this skill that we are going to learn today, this skill is not important just for MSR. Reading it perfectly, answering questions the right way, making sure that you do not miss out on some modifier words, those are skills that are going to be instrumental for you, not just in not just in MSR, but all across the board. So what we are going to do is I want you guys to read the question stem again. I'm going to give you guys 2 more minutes to do that. And I want you to read with the mindset that this is going to be the first and last time that you're going to be seeing this passage. And that's not something that is going to happen in the real GMAT exam, right? When you actually approach MSR, when you see an MSR question, you get the chance to refer to it as many times as you want. So that is not something which is going to be there. But why are we doing it? Why are we reading it in such a way that it's going to be the first and last time? And after this, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions where I'm not going to show you the question stem. I want you guys to practice it. And I'm sure like a lot of you who would be thinking that, okay, in the real test I can go back to the passage, right? There's nothing that is stopping me from going back to the passage. So why are we doing this practice where where I'm asking you to read the entire passage and not and like when solving the questions not go back to it? And the answer lies in like a very interesting movie. Have you all seen, I think a lot of you have seen Karate Kid. How many of you have seen Karate Kid? Just drop yes if you've seen Karate Kid. I mean, if you haven't, you should. It's like a really, really brilliant movie. But essentially, I'll just tell you what happens in Karate Kid. There is this, yeah, it's an awesome movie. There is this guy, Daniel San. Okay, he wants to learn karate, and he goes to Mr. Miyagi, and Mr. Miyagi is like, I want you to do wax on, wax off. I want you to, paint the fences. I want you to do a bunch of chores. I don't remember which chores were there. And he's like that, oh my God, why am I doing all of this? I actually want to defeat that guy who's bullying me. What is this, like, exercise and futility that I'm doing? But at that time, because he's been doing it so much, wax on, wax on, wax off, wax off. So at that time, when Mr. Miyagi throws a punch, he just blocks it. He instinctively blocks it without even thinking. Why? Because he had that practice of wax on and wax off. So if we look at it, one of the biggest reasons, and if you go anywhere, if you look on Reddit, if you look at what is happening, and probably you have also experienced it, one of the biggest reasons that is stopping students from going to 90th to 99 percentile, not just in MSR, across MSR, across we'll talk about that. Absolutely, we'll talk about that. This is a very important skill if you do want to get to 100% accuracy in critical reasoning. So one of the biggest reasons that is stopping students from going there is precision reading. What happens in CR? They'll miss the word sum. In quant, they'll miss that, oh, they were asking for something and we solved for something else. In MSR, they'll miss words like average. So because of that, what will happen is, despite knowing the concept, despite knowing the application, despite having full knowledge, full logic, you still cannot answer the question. So this is the practice that we are doing today, not just in MSR. But when I'm going to give you this again, I want you to make notes, okay? And after that, I want you to not refer to it when you are actually going and solving the questions. And what this entire thing is going to do is, because you have this mindset that you're not going to look at it and you're going to have to solve like 5, 6, 7 questions, you will read each and every word carefully. You will see everything. You will see the modifiers. You'll visualize what is happening. And the more and more and more you practice this, those tiny, tiny, silly mistakes that you were making, missing out on some, missing out on most, like those small things like, solving for x instead of x square, whatever. You will catch yourself when you're about to make those mistakes and will not make them anymore. So today's session is not just about MSR, it is about developing this skill of precision reading. So are you guys excited to start this and excited to see how well you do? Great. I'm just assuming it's a yes. Great. Now I'm going to give you 2 more minutes, and I want you to read that. And whoever cannot read it from the slide, the Dropbox comment has the sorry in the PDF has been dropped, so you can just have a look. 2 more minutes. Oh yeah, and as soon as you're done reading, just type it down. Done reading. Okay, last 1 minute, guys. If you need extra time, just drop it in the comments. Okay. Fanindra Siddhanti, done reading. Great. Last done. Siti Nursari. Okay. If I'm massacring your names, guys, I'm so sorry. Okay. Last 20 seconds. No, you need to read both, Siti. Not just prospector, both prospector and environmental scientist. Okay, so we will move on. I'm so sorry. But now I hope that you did take notes, and I want you to answer the questions purely based on your notes and your understanding of the passage. And I want you to be really active, guys, okay? All right. Which deposits are larger in size, load or placer? Or like both are similarly sized? And if you can't recall the information, that's fine to just say that you can't recall. Or if you think the information was not provided. One, okay. One, good. City, Rohan, great, good comprehension. All right, so the answer is one. Load deposits are larger in size, and this is something that you should have gotten from basic comprehension. This is basic what was, what you're supposed to comprehend. Okay, now this is going into a little bit more detail. I want you to answer. Overall amount of gold that is mined in the US, has it increased, decreased, remained the same, or information not provided? And if you're unable to recall, again, there's no shame here. You can just say you're unable to recall. Okay, good. Kiki Master, Ritesh Tasif. Yes, yes, very good. Great, great comprehension, guys. You're able to remember detail. Lovely, lovely. Fantastic to see that. Okay, let's go. Overall contribution of placer deposits to the amount of gold mined in the US has. So this is a new question. Increased, Riyadh. Decreased, remain the same. 222. Okay, so the answer here is decreased. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of cheating and I'm going to show you. Yeah, if you look here, what is the overall amount? It says here, placer deposit only accounts for a few percent. Quantity has decreased as readily available deposits has been exhausted. So it has decreased, even though the entire thing has increased, the contribution of placer deposits has decreased. Okay, sorry, my bad. All right. Fourth question. Proportion has reduced in US because I think there's slight lag here. So I mean, I'm sorry if I'm, not able to correlate your answers. Why has the proportion reduced? This is slightly more tricky. Two, great, Sitish, Shweta, Zineb. The way you guys are doing so well, I'm suspecting that you're cheating, but I hope that you're not. I hope that you're being true. Okay, great, two, fantastic, great, guys. All right. Which of these require the use of toxic chemicals for gold mining? This is again like going into detail. Quickly think about it. One, great, Rohan, Ritesh, Tasif, Anindra. Nice. It's lovely to see you all participating as well. Really fantastic. One, Zineb, really nice. Great, yes. So the answer is load deposits, they require the use of toxic chemicals for gold mining. Great. All right. Let's go. Let's see how Anushal can answer this. Why do load deposits have a negative environmental impact? Is it all of the above? Is it 1, 2, and 5? Is it 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 5? What is it? Think about it. And it's completely okay if you don't recollect. We have the option 5, which is unable to recall. And again, this is not the real GMAT. We're not going to cut marks. So, you are free to answer. It's a test environment. 2. Okay, Shweta. 2. Couple of more people, please. 3, 3, 2. Okay, 3. Okay. Richard, Kiki Master, both of you think it's 3. Rohan, Fanandra, Shweta, you think it's 2. Isabel, it's 2. Recollect what the passage said. Recollect what it said about the load deposits. Load deposits have a negative environmental impact because of their large size, because of toxic chemicals, and because of waste generation. These 2 points, because of habitat destruction and sediment release, they are about the placer deposits. They're not about the load deposits. So I think 2 and 5 for sure. Okay, because the last side I'll go with 2. Smart thinking, Sineb. Yeah, so the answer is here 2. 1, 2, and 5. This is like a little bit tricky because this is a particular situation where all of these are technically given in the passage. So it can be slightly tricky, but great. Overall, you guys are performing really well. We already did this question. Is this statement correct? A typical load mine processes 130 kilogram of raw ore. Now we know it's not, right? I'm not even going to ask you guys. We just discussed. It's not. Great. Okay. Which deposits have a more severe environmental impact? Ritu says it's 2. Siti says it's 1. Okay. Would like to get a few more responses. Rohan says it's 1. Okay, Ritesh changed his answer. Fanindra 1, Shweta 1, Sati 1, Arshi 1. Great, great, good going, guys. It is the load deposit that has a severe environmental impact. And again, this is not a memory exercise per se. It is an exercise of comprehension. It is an exercise of how well you got the details of it, how precisely you were reading it. And practicing this entire skill, practicing how to do this in a very, very, very precise manner is definitely going to help you all across the board. Now tell me this. This is a difficult one. Okay, sorry. My bad, Rutuj. This is a difficult one. Question 9. There is definitely a lag here, so my bad, guys. By definition, a load deposit mine processes 180,000 metric tons of raw ore a day. Is this statement correct? Comprehension and note taking. Yeah, true, Zineb. Tell me this. No, Rohan, no, Arushi, no. Whoever is saying no, tell me why no. Shweta, unable to recall. Lovely honesty, Shweta. Whoever is saying no, Rohan, Arushi, I want to know from you. Isabel, why are you saying no? Rituj, 2 no, okay. Fanindra, 2 no, okay. Why are you guys saying no on this? Write it down. Somewhere it was written, no, 180,000. It says process 180,000 doesn't mean that it defines a load deposit. Very good, Rohan. Okay. Anybody else? It is not by definition. It can be one of a case. Correct, correct. Good, Arushi. Richard, 2. Isabel, only some. Very, very good, Isabel. It didn't specify load deposit. This if. It did specify a load deposit. We'll get there. But only modern. Very good, Fanindra. Yes, yes. All of you are actually doing pretty well. It did not say by definition. It did not say a beautiful, Richard. Up to I think we have characterized all of the reasons why it is wrong. It did not say by definition. It did not say it processes 180. It said up to, and it did not say all of them. It only said modern. So no, really, really good, guys. I'm like so proud of you. Great. So now we will, great, Rituj, average sum, wonderful. So now what we are going to do, I'm going to teach you the process, though I think you guys are really good at it, but I'm going to teach you the process in general, like how we can own the data set. You already saw what the power of owning the data set was, so that we don't miss any precise information, so that, we get questions wrong, which we could have gotten right, which we have the skill for, but we still get them wrong. Right, so this is the power of owning the data set, precision reading. Now how to do that, that is what I'm going to teach you here. So first thing, and the most important thing here, is visualization. What do I mean by visualization? Whenever you are reading something, right, what I want you to do is just try to make a video in your head, try to make a movie in your head, try to see inside your head what is going on, when a particular sentence is being read, what does it actually mean. So let us start with this. Prospectors. This is somebody who's a prospector who's saying that gold is typically mined from two different types of geological formations known as deposits, lode, and placer. So what is happening in my mind, and this is how I'm going to be taking notes, is that gold, okay, there are two kinds of deposits, lode and placer. Lode deposits are what prospectors dream of finding, okay? So lode deposits apparently seem to be better for the prospector. And large deposits of nearly pure gold, okay? So it says it's nearly pure. Such deposits are located where they were originally deposited by the mineral bearing solutions that carried the gold up from the earth's interior. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about what that means. I'm going to make a movie in my head. So I'm going to imagine that, okay, there was some interior of the earth and there was some solution that came up, and that actually deposited these here. And they are very large deposits. Okay, I'm imagining them very large. I'm imagining them to be like, very like nearly pure gold. Right. Now we are going to talk about the placer deposits. All right. So mine switch to placer deposits. Let us try to switch the pen as well. Yeah. Placer deposits come from pre-existing lode deposits that are exposed at the surface of the earth. So in our prospector movie, we saw that okay, there are these lode deposits. So what happened is that placer deposits came from those lode deposits that were exposed. So these lode deposits exposure to the weather causes gold to be released from the surrounding rock and transported by rivers in the form of dust or flakes. So here what I'm imagining is that okay, there is a river and there is dust or flakes here, and that's how these load deposits are being transferred. So when a stream carrying the gold slows, the gold collects in pockets of sand. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the stream, I'm imagining, okay, the stream is slowing down and gold is there in dust and flakes. So what is happening is that the gold is being collected in pockets of sand. So I'm imagining there to be pockets of sand, and I'm imagining to be gold collected in pockets of sand. So what again, so this is about, so if we look at this, if we look at the context of this, what this was about the characterization of the two different types of deposits that are there, and what exactly is there in those deposits, where they originate from, how they form. This was what the passage was about up until now. So now what it says is that placer deposit mines have historically been the source of approximately 35% of the gold mine in the US. Okay, so are they the source of 35% of gold mine in the US right now? No. Why? Because it says historically, right? Like here, I think it's important to note that every single word is important. Just like that word average completely changed the answer, this particular word historically also has the power to change the answer. So if I look at it, let's make a timeline. So historically means somewhere in the past. Placer, this was 35%. Okay. However, so whenever there is something which is however that comes up in any kind of either like an RC or like a CR or whatever kind of passage, however means that there is some change in direction. Okay, matlab, the passage is going to say something which has been different from what it has been saying up until now. However, in recent years, the quantity of gold mined from such deposits has decreased. So, what is happening? So, like, what does it mean? So, again, visualization. So, when this is saying the quantity of gold mine has decreased, so what I'm imagining is that, okay, earlier in the past, if let us say there were 100 kg of gold being mined from these placer deposits, right now it must be about 20. We don't know the exact numbers. But what I'm doing is that I'm quantifying. And why am I quantifying this? Because quantification makes it easier for me to visualize what is happening. And this particular skill is going to be something that is very important in CR questions as well. In certain CR questions, they'll add certain quant elements. And because of that, it makes it difficult. But whenever there's something which is like, okay, quantity has decreased, percentage has decreased, both of them are very different, by the way. I will, figure out numbers so that I make sense of it in my head. And it makes sense in the movie that is going on in my head. Perfect. So it says that in recent years, the quantity of gold mined from the deposits has decreased. As now, what does as signify? As is basically because, right? So this is basically giving us a oh shit, sorry. So this is basically giving us a reason why they have decreased, right? So if we look at it, yeah, as the readily accessible gold mines, I'm sorry, yeah, as the readily accessible deposits have been exhausted. So why has it been decreased? Because earlier, let's say like there were three placer deposits. Right now, there's probably one. All right, now question to you guys. Have all the deposits been exhausted? Have all of the placer deposits been exhausted? Answer yes or no in the comments. Participation, guys. Have all of the deposits been exhausted? No. Great, Fanindra. They have not. What does it say? Readily accessible deposits have been exhausted. Right? So great, Rohan, Isabel, Arashi, Monica, Joseph, awesome. No, readily accessible deposits have been exhausted. Okay, so thus, what is thus? Conclusion indicator. Great. Thus, despite an increase in the net gold mine, the placer deposit mining now accounts for only a few percent of the total gold mined in the US. So, how am I going to visualize this? That, okay, let's say if the net gold mine was 1000 kg, what has it become? There's an increase in net gold mine. So, let's say this 1000 has become 2000 kg. Placer mining deposits only accounts for a fewer percent. Makes sense. Earlier, 100 kg, 1000 kg. I mean, it was supposed to be 35%. Sorry, my bad. But let's say it was some percentage. Right now, it's 20 out of 2000. So the percentage has decreased. Right. So what I did is like, sometimes this is still slightly easier, but sometimes it's very easy to get confused between percentage and figures. And it's very important to note down in pure numbers what it means. So it's easy for us to figure out what's going on. Great. Now, going on to the next one. So, this is what the environmental scientist is saying. So, he's starting from because, okay? Because, unlike mining lode deposits, mining placer deposits does not usually involve crushing rock and using chemicals to extract gold. The environmental impacts are generally less than those of mining lode deposits. So, what is happening here? The environmental scientist is comparing two things. He's comparing the lode deposits and he or she is comparing the placer deposits. So, what they are doing is that unlike lode deposits, okay, here we are talking about placer deposits, mining them, there is no crushing rock and no chemicals to extract gold. Whereas in lode, it is crushing rock and it is using chemicals. So what happens is that the environmental impacts are generally less than those of lode deposits. Okay, so placer is better for the environment. Awesome. Now it says the primary impacts of placer deposit mining are habitat destruction and sediment release. What does this statement mean to you? Like when you read this statement, what comes in your mind? What do you think? Is it correct if I write this? The impact is habitat destruction and sediment release. Is it correct if I write this? Just say yes or no. Am I correct if I just write this? There's going to be a slight lag, but I'm going to wait for your responses. It says here that the primary impacts of placer deposit mining are habitat destruction and sediment release. Okay, very good, Shweta. The max impact is only that. Yeah. So what does that mean? It means there can be other impacts also. Right? This is so important. It does not say that the only impacts of placer deposit are habitat destruction, sediment release. What is it saying? It is saying the primary impacts are those. Right? Again, one word which changes the entire meaning. Perfect. So what is happening? So again, if you are trying to like visualize this in your head, so visualize that okay, there is a placer deposit, and what is happening in the placer deposit? Again, if you think about it, it was in a river, right? So like okay, there's sediment being released into the river because of that, habitats are being destroyed. But what is happening is that the environmental impacts are less than the load one. And in load one, what is happening? Just think about it. That in load, it is usually like it was in a mineral place, right? So because of that, you would have to crush rocks, and load is a little bit. The passage is showing that okay, it is a little bit deeper. So you would have to use chemicals, which you would not have to use in case of placer. So is this making sense in your head? Like both the stories, are they making sense in your head? I think like for you guys, you're performing very well. So I'm sure that it's making sense for you. So what is happening is that then it is giving an explanation of habitat destruction. It says habitat destruction occurs as a result of river diversions and disruptions of river bottoms and banks. Okay, so what it says is it's just giving a cause of the habitat destruction, like why it is happening, right? Again, we already talked about it, okay, because it is at the river. So if there's disruption of the river bottom, if it is river diverting, so all of that is happening, and the large amounts of slate and sediment can severely impact water quality. So the purpose of this is that I want you to visualize that what is happening. I want you to visualize the river. I want you to see in your head that okay, there's a river, There's a deposit there. What is happening in the deposit? Okay, like, if it is, habitats are being destroyed. So the more you are able to form it in the form of a story, the more you're able to see what is actually happening, the better your performance is going to be when you talk about answering the questions. Now, if you don't do this, if you just skim, so there is a very high possibility that you will miss some keywords, you will miss some key concepts. And because if you not visualize, you'll get these questions wrong. Great. So, again, we'll finish this. Modern commercial operations tend to use settling ponds to prevent this discharge. Okay, so we are saying modern commercial operations, not all, very important, not all of them, but the modern commercial ones, they are using settling ponds. Okay, and again, here I'm not writing full words MODER and they are using. I'm just like, writing it in shorthand because the only person, I mean, right now you guys need to understand, but the only person when you are writing this needs to understand is you. So you can definitely use shorthand and it's going to save time as well. Great. So mining load deposits has a much larger environmental impact by virtue of the size, the generation of waste, and the use of toxic chemicals. All right. So what is it saying? If we talk about load, it is a large environmental impact. Why? Three reasons: size, waste material generation, and toxic chemicals. Okay. And then it says that the gold comes out of the ground as raw ore, which is gold aggregated with other minerals. And the gold comes out, gold. So again, you can imagine that, okay, there is like a raw ore, which is going to have gold, and it is going to have some other minerals along with it. Okay. And it says on average, such mining operations process approximately 130 kgs of raw ore to produce 1 gram of pure gold. So on average, again, this is what a lot of people missed out on, right? So when anyone says average, and I want you to remember this from now on, and if you go in and if you do like CR questions after this, and if you do questions wherein average is mentioned, I think you're not going to make this mistake again, because whenever you read average, you're instantly going to remember what does it mean. It doesn't mean that it's all 130. It could be anywhere from 90 to 160, it could be 50 to 200. The average is just 130, right? Perfect. So on average, such mining operations process approximately 130 kgs of raw ore to produce 1 gram of pure gold. Okay, so I have done a very messy job with the notes, but we can just write it here. 130 kg of raw ore. And yeah, I don't want you guys to make this mistake that I made in, I have really large handwriting, so the notes are a bit messy. But you will have much more space than I do. You can ask for multiple these notepads from the from the GMAT test center, so that should be fine for you guys. Yeah, so there's 130 gram raw, which gives 1 gram of pure gold. All right. So, unlike placer deposit mines, modern commercial load deposit mines are massive operations, some displacing and processing up to 180,000 metric tons of raw ore per 1 day. So, okay, what am I imagining here? That placer ones are small operations, and that does make sense because they were small deposits being carried around. But the modern commercial load deposit mines, again, modern commercial load deposit mines, they are massive operations. We already know that they are massive, right? And how are we showing that they are massive? Some are displacing and processing up to 180,000 metric tons of raw ore per day. Are all of them displacing and processing 180,000? No. Are they all processing 180,000 or up to 180,000? It's up to 180,000, which means that it could be like 50,000 as well. It could be 100,000 as well. Could it be 190,000? No, because it says processing up to 180,000 metric tons raw ore per day. So you see how we actually went through and we owned the data set. We looked at every single thing, and because of that, we could catch such things like averages, and we could catch such things so that we don't make such mistakes. Great. Now I want you to answer this one question. Okay, for each of the following statements, select implied if it information implies, and doesn't imply if it doesn't imply. Okay, so in 1, 2, and 3, I think 2 we have already no, we've not discussed. Okay. I want you to select for 1, 2, and 3. Mention 1 implied or not, 2 implied or not, and 3 implied or not. Please solve this question. And little bit faster, guys. 1 is implied. Okay, Tasif, you are saying this is implied. Okay. What about 2 and 3? And others? 1 is implied. Okay. 2 people are saying 1 is implied. 2 is not implied, Fanindra. I would want to know why are you saying it is not implied? 3 is not implied. Okay. Implied, not implied, not implied. Okay, Shweta, why are you saying that 2 is not implied? Others, I know there's a lot of smart people here. I'm waiting for this. 2 plus 3, not implied. Okay. 1%. Acha, okay, 1 implied. Okay. 1 is implied largest, Monica. Yes. 1 reveal I'll do. 1 is implied actually. But I want to know from you guys what do you think about 2 and 3? 2 is not implied, Siti. Give me reasons. Reasons, guys. Why is 2 not implied? Okay. Arushi says that, okay, load deposit mine. Implied, not implied, not implied. Rohan, give me reason for 2. Why are you saying it's not implied? Two is talking about average. Here we're talking about the largest contributor. Okay, interesting. 2 is not implied because it said approximately, but the passage says average. It could be, but also it couldn't. Okay. I'll tell you the real reason in a bit. Is anyone else not gotten the answer that I want yet? Anyone else wants to take a shot? Again, on average. Okay. Okay. Yeah, got it. Great. Yes. So, all right. So if we talk about it, the Grasberg mine processed approximately 130 kilogram for each 1 gram of pure gold. Yes. So this is the average. Correct. So just because it said average, we cannot imply it is correct from there. Great. So if we talk about the first one, so this the first thing I think everybody got because it is the largest gold mine. We all know that it is a load deposit, right? It is a load deposit. And because it is a load deposit, chemicals are used to extract gold from the ore collected at the Grasberg mine. Again, we know that load deposit, there are toxic chemicals. So this is implied. This says 130 kilograms of raw ore, not implied. Why? Because we talked about the average. Third, the grass mine was located adjacent to the river. Again, that is not implied. We don't know that for sure. So, okay, so all of you guys got this correct. Great. All right. So this, because you guys could solve this so quickly, you did not have to refer to the passage because we did such intense work on the passage. We did such intense work synthesizing the information on the passage. Okay. Now I want you to solve this question. Solve it like this: 1, 2, 3, and then yes or no. I'm hoping that all of you will get this one correct. 1, 2, and 3. Yes, no, no, yes, yes. Okay. Monica, you are saying no, yes, yes. Okay. Zineb, you're also saying no, yes, yes. Isabella, no, yes, no. Tasif, no, yes, no. Fanindra, no, yes, no. Shweta, yes, no, no. Okay, Rohan, no, yes, no. All right, no, last one is no. Okay, great. So, the first one, I think almost all of us got it correct. That placer deposits are on average are larger than load deposits. No, we cannot imply that, right? Because we already know that load deposits are larger. So, that's not the case, right? The second one, if we, oh, sorry. Yeah, the second one, if we look at it, mining placer sometimes has environmental effects beyond habitat destruction and sediment release. We already talked about it, right? That just because primarily it has two impacts of, habitat destruction and sediment release doesn't mean that every time it has. So primarily is the key word here. Now, this I think this is the third one is something that did confuse a couple of people. That gold production for placer deposits makes up only a few percentage of total production, primarily due to increased quantities of gold being produced from lode deposits. So the first part of this is correct, that it does make up a few percentage of total production. But what is the reason for that? What is the reason that it makes up only a few percentage? Is it because there is a lot of gold being produced from lode deposits, or is it because the placer deposits are exhausted? Zineb, fantastic. The reason is the exhaustion of the environmental deposits. It is not due to is an important thing. It is not due to like a lot of gold being produced by lode deposits. Right? It is because of this. And it's okay. I think, like, what I want you to do, I'm going to give you proper homework. But what I want you to do is that after this, I want you to solve a bunch of questions and I want you to use this method. Where you read it once, take as much time as you need. But then after that, don't refer to it and then solve the questions. The mastery that you will build from there, that is going to be next level. But okay, I think like I hope that whoever got the third one wrong realize why it is wrong. Okay. So now, again, I think a lot of you could solve it really, really soon. Usually it takes 1.25 minutes, and that is a 45% accuracy. I think here you all of you could like a lot of you could solve it, and that too in less than 30 seconds because we synthesize the data. All right, now go for this question. This has a very low accuracy. Am I audible? Am I visible? Can you see the slides? Can you see me? Okay, just give me a moment, guys. I'm so sorry. You can see you, but not the slides. Yes, slides are definitely more important. Yeah. Okay, is it better now? Can you see the slides? Okay. Again, very sorry, guys. Yes. On average, an operation. Okay, great. Let me see what you guys have answered while I was away. Supported, supported, supported. Supported, 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 supported. Okay. No, yes, yes. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, since I was gone, I think a lot of people couldn't see the slides. 30 seconds more, and then I'm going to tell you the answer. 30 seconds more. Three is supported, City. Okay. What about one and two? I think a lot of you have said that all three are supported. Zineb, Arushi, Tasif. Isabella said one is not supported and the two are supported. Rohan said all three are supported. Anyone else? Okay. So I'm going to move on to the answer. And this is going to surprise you. So, uh, did you all tell me very honestly, did you all read the question properly? Did you all very, very read the question honestly? Shweta, okay, I don't see the evidence. For me, all are not supported. What does this say? Oopsies, sorry. Yeah. What does this say? For each, select supported if the scientist cites specific evidence to support the claim. Where has the scientist, look at this, let's look at this, look at this. Yeah, this is what the scientist is saying. What is it saying? That on an average, an operation mining load deposit produces approximately 130 kgs. Okay, are they saying that? Yes, 130 kgs. Are they making the claim? Yes. Correct, Shweta. Specific evidence. Is there any specific evidence to support this? Or is it just like stated without any evidence to support this? Right. And I think a lot of times what we do is that we look at we look at the question but we don't read it that well. Or I think in your case, you might not be able to remember whether specific evidence was supported or not. And that is perfectly okay. It is really, really okay to get it wrong here. We are in a sandbox environment. But a very important thing here is to look, what did it say? It said specific evidence. So in here, specific evidence is not mentioned. So the first statement is not supported. Yeah. Look at the second one. Modern commercial placer deposit mining operations tend to use settling ponds to prevent the discharge of large amounts of silt and sediment. Has it been said? Has it been claimed in the argument? Yeah, it has been claimed. They tend to use settling ponds to prevent this discharge. Is it supported anywhere? No, not supported. Now, I want you guys to do the third one. Is it supported or not? Redo. Now that you know that we need to look for specific evidence, all of you are incredibly smart, by the way. Like incredibly, incredibly smart. So I want you to tell me. Three, is it supported or not? I am wrong understanding the questions. Happens to the best of us. Don't worry. I think most of the questions in quant, like in my like later stages of the prep, I used to get wrong because I could not, sometimes I missed out on reading the question properly. Not supported. Sinab supported in the last line, Rohan. Nice. Yes, three supported Arushi. Really nice. Yeah. If you look at this, modern commercial load deposits are massive operations. That has been mentioned, right? But this is evidence. Some displacing and processing up to 18,000 metric tons of raw ore per day. This is evidence that is supporting. In both of these cases, statement one, statement two, there was no evidence. But when we are talking about statement three, the author has actually, no, sorry, environmental scientist, the environmental scientist has actually given evidence. So this is why precision reading. Actually, all of you know this, right? After you read it, I think all of you can get it correct. So what is the secret? How do you go along, Shweta? How do you go along and solve these questions within the time frame? Can practice alone is good. Yeah. So the thing is that after, like, if you have done owning the data set perfectly, you could actually solve most of this in 30 seconds. So instead of spending time of, let's say, like 2 or 3 minutes reading the data set and spending 1 to 2 minutes per question, first of all, going out to the three tabs, finding out, okay, where is the information, then figuring it out. It is much better to, let's say, like, spend like 5 minutes or so reading that, and after that you can solve each question in like 30 seconds, because you know what to look for. Once you know what to look for, where to look for, how to do it, you can do that. And once you practice this, right, once you practice this precision reading well, once you take, so I'm going to give you homework again. So once you take 10 questions, and once you are able to do this, so then automatically you will develop how to read precisely, and automatically you will be able to do things within the time frame. And I think a lot of people are worried about this. And I was too when I first started out, that, okay, I need to focus on timing, 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 timing. But the most important thing is initially focusing on accuracy. If you have accuracy, timing will automatically come. And I mean, this is not that something that people should very much follow, but this is what I did. I did my complete practice untimed from the beginning up until the time that I took my first mock. And after that, within taking my first mock, within 1 week, I, kind of like took the GMAT. So because my accuracy was really on point, because I'd understood everything very well, because my application of concepts was on point, I'd done very light time practice essentially. So after that, even in a complete mock setting, I was able to do a good job. So that's what I would advise you. So like, if you take the example of driving, when you start how to learning how to drive, at that time you're not going to drive at like a 60 or 80 speed, unless, like, you have like a lot of backing, that whoever you crash into, it's not going to be a problem. But usually most people are not going to start learning at like 80 to 90. They will learn at like a lower speed. They learn at 10, 20, 30. And once you're comfortable with 10, 20, 30, then you pick up the speed. If you don't know, and then after that you go ahead and you drive, and, like, you attempt the question, then you're going to get it wrong anyway. So that is the point, owning the data set precision. Once you do this, you're going to be very quick, all in all. Shweta says, to go from where you started to 715, how long did it take you? It took me around 3 months. But again, that is different. Like, everybody's journey is different. So we cannot, standardize like that. Fenendra says, from my understanding, one or two are evidences and are not supporting the other evidences. So what does this say? Is it saying that, okay, do we have to find the evidence? What is the question saying? It says, for each select supported, if the scientist cites specific evidence to support the claim. So here we have to find out, for every claim that is there, we have to find out, okay, is there something else which is there in the passage that is supporting this or not? That is the thing. Okay, so yeah, so, like, when you do this practice, you may need to refer to the passage to confirm answers, but not to locate the answers. And that is what I want you guys to do. So this is what owning the data set is all about. Now we'll practice the final question. Okay, this is going to be a quant question. And this is something which cannot be done really fast. Even if you try, it cannot be done within 45 seconds. It will take time. But I want you guys to solve this one. I'm going to give you guys a good 2 minutes for this. Once you're done, just say that you're done and say your answer as well. Biology. I'll get to your question. Let's complete this question and then I'm going to answer your question right away. How to practice the right approach. Okay, Rohan says 3. Okay, what do you guys say? Others? Wait, I'll put it here. Anyone else who solved the question? Final 30 seconds, guys. 5, 4, 3. Oh my god, only one response yet. 2, 1. Okay, I will have to move on. Okay, so Rohan, you are right. The answer is actually 3. So if we look at this question, right? So this is like a proper quant question. So what does this say? That suppose a mine is established on a lode deposit that contains ore with 20 times the average proportion of gold to ore. And in very quant questions like this, we have to go and we have to look at the passage because we are not supposed to remember and memorize numbers, right? But we're just supposed to know what the inferences from those numbers are. So if you look at this, lode deposit that contains ore with 20 times proportion. Okay, so what is the normal proportion? It is like 130 kg gives 1 gram. Okay, so we need to find something that is 20 times that. Which one describes the number of days it would take for such an operation working at the fastest rate described in the passage to produce 100 metric tons of pure gold? Okay, so again, like this is a quant question. So what you need to do is you need to draw inferences here. Right. So here, if let's say like raw ore to pure gold is 130 gram to 130 kilogram to 1 gram normally, because it says that it is 20 times that, this is 20 grams. How many of you were able to draw this inference? That okay, that means that it is going to be 20 grams compared to 130 grams. And this piece is slightly easy, so I'm assuming that a lot of you would have been able to. Now, this other statement, what does it say? Which one describes the number of days, right? It would take working at the fastest rate. So again, when you are saying the fastest rate, what rate are you talking about? You're talking about 180,000 metric tons. What does it say? It says, come again. Okay, let us look at this question, Shweta. Let us look at this question word to word, line to line. Okay. It says that suppose a mine is established on a lode deposit that contains ore with 20 times the average proportion of gold to ore. So, what is the normal proportion of gold to ore? It is 1 gram is to 130 kilogram, right? Clear? That is the normal proportion to from gold to ore. Now, this is saying 20 times the average proportion. So, in that same ore of 130 kilogram, instead of 1 gram, you are going to get 20 gram. Is that clear now? Yeah, 130 gram gives one. Here, look at this. This is the passage. 130 kilogram of raw ore is giving 1 gram of pure gold. That is what is normally happening, right? But here, what is happening is that suppose, so this is a kind of like a hypothetical scenario in which there is ore with 20 times the average proportion of gold to ore. Remember, average. It doesn't mean that it says no average. It doesn't mean that in every single, yes, Shweta, passage does not state that 130 only gives 1 gram. Passage says that on average, such mining operations will give 130 gram. It could be that it can give, let's say, 1 gram also. It could be that it can give, I don't know, like, sorry, it can give like 1 gram, it can give zero point 0.5 grams, it can give 0.0001 grams, it can give like 100 grams. It says the average of everything is going to be 1 gram. Right. So, but here in this specific deposit, right, perfect, perfect. Glad that you got it. In this specific deposit, what is happening? In this specific deposit, we are having 20 times the average. Right. So, is this clear now that because of that it is going to be 20 grams? Okay. Now we are going to move on to the fastest one. Okay, the fastest rate. So what is the rate described? That, okay, some of them, they are up to 180,000 metric tons of raw ore per day. All right. So, like basically, the way that to get this question right is that you need to know how to draw inferences. There are two inferences you need to draw, and you need to know how to apply the unitary method. So, if you have gotten the question wrong, figure out why you have gotten it wrong. Did you not draw the first inference? Did you not draw the second inference? Or did you not do the unitary method? It is very important to know why you made a mistake, because usually what do people do? They'll get one question wrong. They'll be like, okay, oh, I got an MSR question wrong. I need to work on all of MSR. But what you need to do is like a lot more targeted than that. You need to do precision bombing. You need to figure out that, okay, did I not draw the first inference? Okay, that means I need to work on my inference drawing ability in this particular way. Did I not draw the second inference? I need to work on that. Did I not do the unitary method correct? Right. Yes, exactly, Shweta, because fastest we are talking 180. Did I not do the unitary method correct? At what point you need to go to quant basics and do the unitary method? So, so by micro analyzing why you got it wrong, like what exact step you got it wrong, you can precisely attack that step. You can precisely figure out and work on that step. And what will that do is that is going to fix the major gaps that you have. Because of that, all of the questions that you're going to have in the future will be correct. Great. All right. So what is the second inference that we have to draw? That 180,000 tons in one day of raw ore, that is the fastest one. Why is it fastest? Because it said up to. It cannot be faster than that. Okay. I hope people were able to draw the second inference as well. If you have any questions, please let me know. Now, the second step is to apply the unitary method. So, again, what do we need to find? First of all, first step, what we'll do is we'll see what we are supposed to find, what we're supposed to look for, right? We're supposed to look for number of days for 100 into 10 raised to 3 kilogram pure gold. So, again, this is also, if you are like, facing any particular question in quant, it is very important to first write down what is it that they're asking for. That itself is going to prevent like a lot of mistakes that were happening. Okay. Now, let us say an ore of 130 kilogram gives gold of 20 into 0.001 kilogram. So here, what did we do? That we converted everything into kilogram, because we have so many metrics. We have grams, we have, I think, metric tons, all of that, right? So, but if we are doing it in 1 kilogram, that is going to make it much easier. Great. So in one day, so let us say in 130 kilogram will take 20 to 0.001 kilogram. So in one day, the max you can do is 180 into 10 raised to the 10 raised to the kilogram. So I think this is basic unitary method. So what it will, so this answer, essentially, if you do the entire operation, that will come up to 36 by 13 into 10 raised to 4 kilogram. That is how much can happen in one day. Now applying the unitary method again. So in one day, if we are having this much, and how much do we need? We need number of days for 100 into 10 raised to 3, right? So for 100 into 10 raised to 3, how many days do we need? Simple unitary method. So that if you can either use a calculator or you can, do it by yourself. So you will find out it is 130 by 36. So like somewhere the 13, 3 or 39. So this entire thing is going to be less than 3. Because of that, this entire thing is going to be slightly greater than 3. So that is going to give you your answer, which is 3. Great. So we are finally done with this particular MSR. I hope you enjoyed the approach of owning the data set. If you have, I want to hear from you. What did you learn from this session? And essentially, what I'm very interested in is what are the actionable practices that you are going to take on from today onwards. And I want to hear from all of you guys. And oh, yes, thank you so much for participating. You guys were really, really wonderful. You participated on every single thing. Shweta, Zineb, Rohan, Fanindra, Monica, Arushi, Tusif, very, very, very good guys. I'm so happy and I'm so proud of you guys. And yeah, I want you to talk about the last question makes your head spin. Yeah, I think the unitary method part, I think we'll be having a couple of quant sessions too, so that would make it a little bit easier. The purpose of this session was basically figuring out what are the main inferences to draw. So I think that should be fine. Thank you so much. Thank you. Um, in a timed manner, it is a diffuse, I think, difficult to own the set, right? Okay, okay. Would you rather spend, let's say, 6 minutes and get 2 out of 3 questions wrong, or would you spend 8 minutes and get 3 out of 3 questions right? It is important. The most important thing it is to get questions right. That is our first priority. And if you do this, if I walk you through the maths of this, perfect, thank you, Siti. If I walk you through the entire math of this, right? So if you are actually reading it properly, let us say if you even take 5 minutes, after that you're spending 30 seconds on questions, and most importantly, you are getting it right. So let us say that, if you did not follow this approach of own the data set, and if you were just pattern matching, you would have missed out on average, you would have missed out on in a day, you would have missed out on primarily. If you don't visualize, you are much, 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 much more likely to get questions wrong. But if you're actually following this approach, if you are having this practice of doing this, let's say you do it across 30 questions, right? After that, this is going to be so natural to you that it is going to take you lesser time to read, and you're still going to get that accuracy. So while practicing, it is very, very important to just follow this, read it, take notes, don't look at it again, only look at specific numbers if required. Okay, biology. Please guide how many questions should I practice for DI as a whole. So I would say it is not a matter of number of questions you practice. I've seen people who are practicing 300, 400, 500 questions and still not able to cross a threshold. Whereas there are some people who are doing 100 questions and who are able to do it. It is not about the number of questions, it is about how you are practicing the question. So the most important thing is to actually, for every single question, especially in MSR, is to follow this. Like, the first step, read it, completely immerse yourself, visualize, untimed. After that, you are supposed to make notes. After that, don't look at it, just answer, 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 and then look at it and do it continuously. And after that, you're going to do it across RC, you're going to do it across quant, you're going to do it across CR. Everywhere you will see that because of this practice of precision reading, your accuracy is going to skyrocket. And that is my guarantee, because I very recently took the GMAT and I know the kind of mistakes that I'm making. I was making. So if you just do this, your mistakes will definitely reduce, especially if your concepts are clear. This is essential from going from like 90 to 99. Other than that, I would love to know from you guys, what are the things that you learned from today that you're going to take forward. Meanwhile, I also shared the homework questions. Rashmi, if you could do that. Great. Arushi says read, absorb, analyze the data, understand the question, and then answer. Very good, Arushi. Sineb, from now on, precision reading, visualizing, and precise note taking. Practice. Perfect. Great, Sineb. Just one important thing. It's not about memorization. It is about comprehension. It is about figuring out if you have understood what the data set is trying to say, if you have understood what the author is trying to communicate or not. Joseph says, since the specific MSR was just passages, whereas mix of tables or passages is just tables, should we take the same approach? We are going to do the next MSR session, which is going to be specific on those kind of questions. I think that will be like a little bit more clear to you, Joseph. But I think this is something that will work well overall. As I said, it's not just MSR. Across GMAT, it will work. So, doing this entire thing of internalizing that data and like reading precisely and figuring out what the question is asked for, that's going to help you through and through. Great. Great, guys. Thank you so much for attending the session. Thank you so much for staying. If you have, whatever you thought about the session, please drop it in the comments. And if you like the session, please upvote and share. Oh, great. All right. Thank you so much, guys. And happy learning and all the very best. And I hope that you follow this, and I hope that your accuracy increases, and I hope that you guys are like, I'm increasing competition for myself, but I'm completely okay with doing that. I hope you guys get your fabulous, fantastic dream GMAT scores, and then you can get into your dream college. Great. Thank you so much. Good night. If you are not from India, then good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're from. Great. Good night from my side. Bye bye.